So to my panelists, what problems are you solving, and why blockchain? Why not an app? Why not some other traditional means of solving it? Amin, Koki?
Yes. I'm solving an issue around family system and the marriage system. So now, there are many people who want to get married, but they are not allowed to get married. For example, LGBTQ couple in Japan or other Asian and Africa or Middle East countries. Or there are many people who want to get married, but who do not want to get married under traditional marriage system. For example, so in Japan, if we get married, one person has to change their family name, but they do not want to change their family name these days, but they want to get married. And also, there are many people who want to form a kind of a family, but do not want to get married. For example, pair of single mothers to live together, to support each other. They trust each other, they live together, but there are no love, no sex. But they cannot access to the benefit for family. So we are issuing the partnership certificate, family certificate for them on the blockchain, and allow them to be able to access to the benefit for family. Yeah.
I mean, that is a real problem that Koki's seen, identified, that affects thousands of families, and more so as we get further into this. I mean, Amin, Tim, you are dealing with other problems in antiquated industries, the inability to unlock data from customers and how to really connect with them. I mean, what are you seeing, and why are you solving these problems with blockchain?
Yeah, so we are living in a very interesting time right now, right? So every day we are generating zettabytes of data about everybody in the world, right? And it impacts every aspect of our lives. Now, the interesting thing there is that most companies, even when they're collecting all of the data, 90% of it is never looked at. They do not understand what that data is. They do not understand what to do with that data. So this is where now we are coming into the intersection of AI tools, where AI models are so sophisticated now that they can really make a lot of sense out of the data. So you don't have to have human supervision to understand what your data looks like, what it can enable. And that's a very powerful shift in technology over the last few years. The other powerful shift has also been on the blockchain side of things, where if you wanted to make something transactional, blockchains are really the rails for that. If you wanted to make it trustworthy, you wanted to make it transparent, blockchains are perfect for that. So this is where what at Data Curve we are doing is we are combining these two very powerful concepts. We use AI to surface really deep insights from data, and we use blockchain and Web3 technologies to make it transactional. And where do these have a lot of impact in? Think about retail brands. Think about sports and entertainment markets, where there's so much of data, but it's all fragmented, and you don't have any understanding of who your actual customers are, or you don't understand their behaviors. Now, we can use all of our technology and platform to understand that behavior and engage with those people transactionally. So that's what we are doing at Data Curve.
Yeah, I'm Tim Tran, and I'm in the commercial real estate field. If you look at the average age of the realtor, according to the Realtor National Association of Realtor in California, the average age of a realtor is about 59 years old. So by nature, our industry is pretty antiquated. The people who work in the field are very opposed to technology. What we do every day is a lot of our tasks are very repetitive, it's very customized, and it's a lot of work. And we're interested in using technology, particularly AI and blockchain, to scale that process that we use to advise our clients to find the property, to do lead generation. And I think it's going to really upend the world once we figure out how to put these tools together and use those tools so that we can go out and be a lot more efficient and productive in what we do.
And I got to ask a follow-up to Tim. You're using that data scientist. I mean, is that person helping you with some of the goals you have with using Web3 blockchain in commercial real estate to evolve it for the better?
Yeah, absolutely. So to expand on your question, Brad, there are about 350 commercial backed loans in the Bay Area, and those loans were taken out about, let's say, 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, the interest rates were about 3.5%. And most commercial loans have a balloon payment in 5 years. So if you took out a loan for, let's say, 4 years ago, in the next 12 months, you have to be taking some sort of action. Is that action refinance? Are you going to sell the property? Maybe you need to inject more capital into the project and for it to make sense. Or maybe the last resort, you got to give this property back to the lender because the environment has changed. So we got this list of all these different property owners, and we're using this data. We're working with a data scientist to identify which one of these 350 people needs our help the most. And once we figure that out, we're going to go in and we're going to offer some bulletized, customized solutions to help them through the decisions they have to make within the next 12 months. Some of them are even sooner, in the next 6 months. And so this is how we're using data analytics, predictive analysis as an example of where we're going with the market. And I don't know if a lot of people are actually doing that. I like to say that we're the first, but you never know you're the first until somebody else comes out and said, okay, I tried this before, right?
No, it's very interesting. And I think for our audience, I mean, it's commercial real estate, but that's going to apply to other industries, including residential real estate, the access to invest in some of these projects where, how many of you have access to commercial real estate projects to invest in, to get deal flow? I don't unless I'm talking to Tim or someone else in it. Some of these other problems that Amin and Koki are solving, it scales across different things. So when we hear about transaction-based, and you're trying to get more people to use these solutions that you're putting together, what are the challenges you're seeing out there to get people to no, this is a real thing. It's not pie in the sky. It is something very real and tangible. What are the challenges you're seeing to use the different solutions you're putting together with enterprises, with the families you're helping, with the users you're trying to connect with? I mean, what challenges are you seeing? Because, for our audience, how many of you are actively using something in blockchain, whether it's a wallet, you have a Coinbase account, just by show of hands? Is anybody actively using things in Web3? You have an NFT, 5, 6, maybe that's 20, 25% of our audience. The whole goal is to make this more accessible. So for our panelists, what challenges are you coming across with making this more widespread?
Well, I'll take that. So as with any new technology, there's always a lot of challenges, right? But as entrepreneurs, our challenge here is to make it simple and make it super easy for the eventual users of the technology to adopt it. And if we can't do that, then we've obviously failed, right? So we sell primarily to businesses, right? So we don't have a direct B2C connection ourselves, but it's more of a B2B2C model. And if we look at our customer base, right? I mean, most of our customers, they're just trying to do their job. So for example, marketing campaign manager, right? They're only trying to figure out what's the right marketing campaign to send to whom, right? It's a very simple value proposition, but there's a lot of complexity in making that happen because now you've got to understand the data. Where is the data coming from? Is that data accurate? Does it define the behavioral characteristics of the users you want to reach out to? And then on the engagement side, how do you reach out? Once you've identified those people, how do you reach out to them? Is it going to be an email marketing campaign? Is it going to be a television slot? Is it going to be an NFT drop? What is it? So there's a lot of complexity behind the scenes. So that's where exactly, instead of those folks going through over 15 different steps in creating a marketing outreach, what we've been able to do is simplify that to less than 5 steps. You fire up our platform, our AI agents look into the data and come up with actionable insights on that data, and then you engage with those with the creatives that you bring in, and you send them out to your users. Now, what are you sending out? Well, these could be offers for, say, hey, I know you're going to a Taylor Swift concert, here's a free parking pass for you. I know you are going to be shopping, here's an extra discount for you, right? So those are the kind of things that you can very simply bring into the platform. And just very recently, a couple of weeks ago, we did a very deep integration with Okta. So every time you think about single sign-ons with, hey, sign in with Google or sign in with LinkedIn or sign in with Facebook, usually a lot of companies use Okta to power that. And now with our integration, we can embed digital wallets right into that integration itself. So as a user, you obviously have no idea whether your transactions are now being powered by blockchain, but yes, in fact they are, by using our technology. So that's how we say we are solving for complexity.
Well, I think that's the way I'd summarize that is ease of use, eliminating friction so that it looks and feels like something you've seen before, an app,
Absolutely.
a login.
Yeah, absolutely. And to the end user, it should not feel any different than doing their daily activities as they've been used to.
And I think on the flip side, I'm curious, Koki, about your thoughts on this. That's a friction problem that Amon's encountering quite a bit. For you, how do you get word about to families, the people that you can help with your blockchain solutions? Is the challenge marketing to get the information, the word out? Is it the same accessibility to make this something easy they can use? I mean, imagine like for our audience, filling out a clunky government form for anything you have to do that's required. Like how do you get word out about to your users, your target audience?
Okay. So almost all Web3 projects had the same issues. How to make people believe in that vision. For example, Bitcoin is developed by the Satoshi Nakamoto. They're academic paper. So that is a kind of a vision. If all the people in the world believe that will happen, everybody start to buy the Bitcoin, everybody try to connect their computer into the blockchain network, but first, people does not believe in that. Our service is also same issues. For example, not government. We are non-profit organization. If we pursue the marriage certificates for some LGBTQ couple, they believe this is effective, or big corporation start to accept our certificate when they provide some insurance service or loan services with the holder of our certificate. So how to make them believe in this vision come true? So we targeted the very needed area. So for example, we targeted the LGBTQ couple. Many big corporations want to treat LGBT couple as a family, but the Japanese law or Japanese politician hesitate to change the law. But our vision was good. So people feel sympathy with our vision to change to accept LGBTQ couple as a family. Then we create the big trustable team. I'm a public company CEO. I engage the leader of Tokyo Rainbow Pride, and also I engage the ex-president of Sony. And those kind of advisor and the team can put more trust on the vision. Then I created some committee of a big corporation who wanna make this vision happen, and ask them, what kind of system do you give trust? And they throw many criteria. Our system clears all the criteria. Then the number one banks committed to accept our certificate when they provide the loan services, mortgage loan for the families. So by that, the first enterprise corporation commitment pulled other following enterprises. Like that, we build the trust to make all the corporations, the LGBTQ couple, or the society to believe in our vision.
Would it be fair to say that you are basically educating the culture about, hey, this is our vision, this is what we think a family looks like, and here's how we're going to build upon that and execute? Is that fair to say, Koki?
Yeah. Anyway, trust. Trust is very important.
And I'm sure for Tim, when you're sitting there with all those 59-year-olds, how do you convince anyone in your company, others, that, hey, this is actually beneficial? How do you even start those conversations for something that to some is pie in the sky?
That's a very good question, Brad. Have a lot of patience, a lot of education. The real estate industry is one of the last industry that adopts technology. And in fact, if you look at the residential side, they're a lot further ahead than the commercial side. They're probably at least 10, 20 years ahead of commercial. The commercial real estate side is really considered still the wild, wild west. And what I mean by that is everything is still manual, it's repetitive. The regulations that are put in place aren't really keeping up with what people like and want to do, right? So it's governments involved, it's lenders involved, it's the old, business way of doing things. So what we're looking to do is, at least from a small scale, get a platform in place so that we're able to demonstrate that this platform works, right? And make it scalable. Because internally, as a team within just our company, we have no shortage of projects, but we have a shortage of having to do a lot of manual tasks, right? So the blockchain is really very interesting to us because of the immutable aspect of it, the smart contracts of it. And I think a minute ago, Aman mentioned about building that trust. Well, real estate is a lot of trust. There's so much fraud out there where titles are being transferred incorrectly. There's a lot of wire fraud. So there's a massive, massive opportunity for us to put some technology in place to minimize that risk, right? And so to go back to your question, how do you get people to adopt that? Well, a lot of it is trial and error. A lot of it is just trying and demonstrating that your product and your technology tool works. And then hopefully over time, it becomes a tool is not something that you think about, right? It just becomes seamless. Say, oh, okay, I want to buy a property. Well, let's figure out what the value is, and let's figure out how do you transfer the title, and let's figure out how do you transfer the money. I mean, that's really what it is, right?
Yeah, no, I think so. And, for our audience, it's trying to go from A to B, one step forward. We're in 2024. It's still early on, akin to maybe the early internet days like Netscape, Internet Explorer. If that rings any bells? Dating myself maybe sometimes. But we're trying to get to A to B. So then that brings me to my kind of next question for our panel is like, why should our audience care? Because I'm not investing in commercial real estate. I'm not ready to yet. I don't have a family yet. Not there yet. I have my brands. They send me their promo codes via email. Why should the audience care about what you guys are building? What is coming today and in the future? Why does this matter? Because we'd love to leave the audience with, maybe the next time we see you, it's 100% of you raise your hand and say, I've used something on blockchain, even if just one thing. Like, how do we get them to care enough about all the things we're building so that we can make them believe?
So I'll go first again, because these are very interesting questions. And look, humans are creatures of habit, right? We don't change our habits just because there's new technology out on the spectrum and we all want to just adopt it and be the first movers. That never happens. What happens is that subsequently technology gathers enough trust and enough users that we start to feel comfortable that this is indeed beneficial for us. And I'll give you a very quick example. In the audience, we have one of our customers, Swirl, and they're doing fantastic things with public schools and public school funding, right? And if you're not doing it and doing it in a trustworthy manner by putting things transparently out there, none of their customers or none of their brands are ever going to believe them, right? So that is very important in this phase, especially as I'll go back to the initial thing that I said. We are all drowning in data. There is so much data, we have no idea what to do with it. Even the companies we trust with our data, they have never looked at it and they have no idea what to do with it either, right? So whatever filters back and comes back to us has to be trustworthy. And that is where the blockchain elements are so critically important to this world. I'll leave it at that.
No, I would just add, while the other panelists are thinking, I mean, I think of some of my clients, some of my contacts, where you can go to a pharmacy, shout out to Nihowdy, and use a card to order a prescription, and you get Bitcoin back as the rebate that none of us probably even knew existed. It's a very small rebate on each prescription. You go to CVS, Walgreens, wherever. That's very real. I have other clients who are serving the bank list in Africa, where they don't have a stable centralized bank. Currency fluctuates. Like, to build that trust, where they have another option. So, you know, that just goes to Amin's point, like, we're building things for people to actually use in everyday life. So back to Tim and Koki, do you have any additional thoughts on, like, why should they care? And maybe, if not that, where are we heading? Where do you see things heading with blockchain technology and adoption and use of it?
So during Trump's presidency, abortion, some states prohibited abortion, right? And if his presidency come back, if some policy change, for example, prohibit same-sex marriage or something, should we depend on government or politicians forever? We had better another way to change the society by our power, not depending on the politicians or government. So like a Bitcoin, there are no global government, but we realized global currency. So with the blockchain technology, we can transfer society without changing the law, marriage system or something. Tax can be defined by law. We cannot change even using the blockchain, but some area we can change the society without changing the law. That's the reason why blockchain is important. Blockchain can overcome the boundary of countries. Thank you.
And I would just add, I think that's why there's a lot of friction. It's innately political, unfortunately, for better or worse. And Tim?
Yeah, if I can add to that, you know, we care because if you look at what AI is at right now today, it's already pretty smart, but by 2030, it could start being, you know, be able to make decisions based on logic, right? Right now, I mean, the data you feed into the data language model, it spits out what you want to hear based on the data that you feed it. But at some point, if AI is projecting the way it's supposed to project, it's going to get to a point where it's going to be equivalent to us, right? We care because that's where the future is. AI is going to change everything. And I don't see myself being a transactional broker for life, but I am interested in creating a platform where we can level the playing field for those that want to get into this sector and be an agent. So I think, I care personally because I see myself wanting to slow down a little bit someday instead of rushing and always chasing that next deal, but having the technology to be able to do that and spend more time with my family, for example, and really live out your retirement, right? So I think I care because I see the world changing, and it's changing very rapidly. And for us to be able to play a smart part in that, it's going to be very meaningful in how we, dictate where it's going to go, good and bad.
Well, I think to Tim, you can empower yourself with understanding the technology and where it fits for you. Where does it fit in your life now, tomorrow, 6 months, whatever. So, Tim, you mentioned one thing about wanting to retire, slow down, and I get that. I hear you there. But when it comes to Web3, I'll push back a little bit. As more people learn the technology and they figure out, okay, I can use it this way, whether it's Web3, blockchain, it's AI, how do we stay on top to differentiate ourselves? So if we all have the tools, is it about how we optimize them and then how we use that time for other things like people relationships, building trust, advocating for our vision with people? I mean, how do we stay ahead of the others if we all have the same tools today?
I would say start with something small, with a problem that you need to have a solution for, and come to an event like this, connect with people. For example, I was just talking to Aman before our panel started, and I told him what our pain point was. And lo and behold, he's got a solution that I think that can be applied from the sports sector into the commercial real estate sector. Be involved. For me, I spend a lot of time reading papers, reading articles, attending events, talking to people just to pick their brain. Just because I'm in commercial real estate doesn't mean I just talk to a bunch of commercial real estate people. I try to broaden my horizon and stay relevant, right? And that's really what it is, whether you're on your own researching or maybe taking a course, right, and being involved in an event like this. It's incremental. You learn as you go. But I would say start small. Don't just go and try to solve the world's problem in one big swoop.
No, I'll add to that, right? So I think human creativity is way beyond the tools that we have. So you should always look at the tools as something that can further your creativity along, right? I mean, all the AI tools that we have today, if our kids are growing up with them, their creativity is going to be off the charts, right? Because they've had access to all of these tools today that we never had. So human ingenuity, human creativity is always going to be at the forefront, and we should just look at these tools as how can they further our own ambitions, whether it's personal or social or however we want to apply our creative elements to.
I think that we need to create some intersection between the Web3 industry and the real industry. I mean, now Web3 industry is led by the Web3 native young guys. They want to create more virtual currency and want to earn more profit. So Web3 is now surrounded by the native people, the crypto native people. But we need to solve real solution like a family system or real estate system or entertainment system to make it happen. The people who knows both of the industry is important. So it's very difficult for one person to familiar with the real industry and the Web3 industry. It's so difficult. But if we can form a team with the members who are familiar with the real industry and the crypto industry, that team can solve the real issue in the world. So I think that is a first step.
If I could summarize what our panel's saying, it's follow your passions, trial and error, and procreate and have a family, because you're going to learn from your kids. As we all get older, they're going to figure things out faster than us. So we've got a couple minutes left. Are there any takeaways, any actual items that the panel wants to leave with the audience about what they can do after today, like to learn, to figure this stuff out, to continue their development wherever they are in the scale? And if not, we'll turn over a minute or two of audience questions. But like, what can they take away from today? What can they act upon to actually understand where things intersect? Business, blockchain.
Maybe I'll start off. I would say my favorite phrase is, the world is your oyster. So whatever you want to do, whatever you think you want to do, go and do it. Don't give yourself any excuses. Just go out and do it. And you'd be surprised how many people you'll meet along the way and how many people will open up their arms and help you. And that's really what it is just go out and do it. Don't wait.
Yeah, I'll echo the same similar sentiments as Tim. I think the way to look at technology today is to see where does it intersect with our lives, and what is it that we are passionate about, and use the tools that are available to us to further those passions. I think that's the only way to not just learn, because these things are never going to be taught in universities and schools, right? I mean, no college is teaching LLMs. You're just learning it as you go along and trying to figure out applying it to your business issues or your personal issues or your passions. And that's the only way that will be to keep learning and growing in the era of non-stop technology.
So my takeaway of this session is that I need to be connected with the various people in the various industry. I'm in the Web3 industry, so I need to know the real issue to be solved using the blockchain technology. So let's be connected and create a good vision to make the people believe in that.
Speaking of connected, find us on LinkedIn, reach out. I mean, you'll find when you have a problem you're passionate about solving, especially when it comes to Web3, you're gonna need a lot of help, and you're gonna need to know people because you probably can't solve everything yourself. So connect with us, find us.